Just sitting there looking at the files and how they said that it was no black women allowed on Epstein Island. Remember this: God's rejection is your protection.
And happy Black History Month, y'all, because nothing says Black excellence like finding out that Black girls were not allowed to be on Epstein Island. To me, that's not discrimination. That's divine protection.
Being Black saved their life. The E-files came out, and Mr. E said he didn't want to see any ends on his island, especially no female ends. And I was so pleasantly happy to read it. I was like, wow. For the first time, being Black was a protection and a safety for women. What are you guys' thoughts? Drop it below.
Because what you mean, according to the Epstein files, he had a specific rule of no black girls, right? Because according to him, they're hard to manipulate and even harder to control. Translation, he was afraid that they were too smart and they would fight back. Strike a win for stereotype saving the day.
Just sitting there looking at the files and how they said that it was no black women allowed on Epstein Island. Remember this: God's rejection is your protection. It's so many things that protected me from the things that rich people participate in. Amen.
And happy Black History Month, y'all, because nothing says Black excellence like finding out that Black girls were not allowed to be on Epstein Island. To me, that's not discrimination. That's divine protection. Black folks weren't allowed to get on the Titanic either, and we saw how that turned out. No Epstein Island, no Titanic. Sometimes oppression can actually save your life.
He told, "Don't bring me any N-words. Never ever brought any friends." At this point in the interview, Attorney Barry advised the following. At Epstein's request, she at times met people on the beach and may have told them something to the effect of, "If you want to party, go to Epstein's." Following statement, shook her shoulders and head in the affirmative. Clarified that after what Jeff had done to her, she did not want it, the grapes and actual assaults, to be repeated. And she decided finding other girls for him, strangers she found in town, might spare her more abuse.
Hey, according to Jeffrey Epstein, he said he ain't want no black girls on his island. He said they was hard to manipulate and hard to control. I know a compliment when I hear one. Thank you, Mr. Jeffrey.
Yo, so I'm thinking about it, and I really think we're asking the wrong question. Why didn't they have black people there? Like, for real. Like, really think about that question. I know a lot of y'all are going to be like, oh, it's obvious they were racist. But they were literally essaying, unaliving, and assaulting all the white people there. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Why would they do that to their own kind? You feel me? Then I'm like, okay, maybe it's just because, like, I'm gonna just use black men as an example. Black men are strong, some black men, but I feel like we're all strong. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, I feel like black men would have been a fight. You know what I'm saying? But then you have people like Sasha Riley who literally could fight and defend themselves, and they still abuse. You know what I'm saying? So I really feel like we really need to start thinking about what we're actually saying. Obviously, we don't want it. We definitely did not, us black people, no, we didn't. I'm sure none of them wanted to, you know what I'm saying, be there. But why not black people? Like, do you get what I'm saying? Why not abuse black folks? We went through slavery. So did other races, but we definitely did. So why not black people? You know what I'm saying?
Wait, hold on. Did y'all hear that? Epstein said, he ain't want no black women on Epstein Island. He said, I don't want no NIGGERs, right? And in his other emails, he made it clear that he thinks black people as a whole, black people are ignorant and idiotic. And he doesn't want to be around them. We good. Boy, rejection is protection, ain't it? Shit. Because whenever those Epstein photos come out, you know what they're looking for, right? You know what people really looking for? They're looking for black folks. They don't care. They know this thing is riddled with white folks, right? Whenever the Epstein photos come out, they only looking for one thing and one thing only. Black folks. But my thing is this, right? A worldwide child trafficker into all kind of nefarious things, all kind of craziness, demon worship, all these little weird things, right? All these weird projects he got going on, right? And they still got black folks on their mind somehow.
Epstein did not want dark-skinned girls. Apparently his clientele was very, very focused on white, light-skinned girls. In other words, young girls. As a matter of fact, his age group preference was 14 to 17, and 14 was the real preference between those ages. And if you take a look at it, the other thing that comes into play is that when things got hot in the United States or here in the Americas, then he went ahead and had them search out girls in the European theater, mostly from the Eastern Bloc European theater. That's probably one of the reasons we don't have a lot of lawsuits coming out of there. In any event, this is just a little FYI. It would not hurt to go ahead and go in and do a little bit of searching on one of the databases. And keep in mind, we have a ton of additional information which is going to be brought out before this whole thing is all over with. This is News Happenings.
You know, I did hear allegedly that black kids weren't allowed on the island, but my immediate response wasn't the same as the most, which was like, God bless being black, like racism benefited us for once. My immediate thought was that something more heinous was in store for us, or that we weren't like valued as human beings enough to be on the island, or like our voices centered in the stories of trauma. I don't think black people were excused from all the like grotesque, predatory, pedophilic behavior that was going on. If anything, I just feel like we are fetishized in a very unique way where it's almost as if it doesn't need to be platformed because people are so ashamed. I feel like the same could be said for like, you know, any marginalized community, fat people, trans people, gay people, disabled people. Like, people fetishize us and want to like harm us in like sexual violatory ways. I don't even know if violatory is a word. I just threw that in there because it felt like it made sense. But I also feel like with everything coming out with Epstein, like apparently, like I think they said like 1 million pages were released or some like insane number. And I just want to remind everyone that like these are some serious things coming out. And I know a lot of us have like been very desensitized to like the very systemic harmful things that have been happening as far as abusers and bigotry go. But I just want to remind everyone that not everyone has the same sense of humor, and it's very sensitive subject matter. And yeah. I'm sending strength and love to everyone affected by stuff like this, whether they are directly affected and like have long-standing trauma from the island, or they're just people who have experienced trauma, or they're just people that don't like hearing about it, because it's going to be rough as people are unpacking everything within these files.
Epstein didn't like black girls.
These documents, and if you see right here, it says the plane of knowledge, the only females specifically excluded from the defendant's sexual escapades were African Americans. You know why? We talk too much. That's why.
Anyways, it's only 2 days into Black History Month and racism done saved our black babies. Epstein said he didn't want no knitters, if you get me, on his island. I know that's right. Thank you.
And quite honestly, something that shocked me with the Epstein files is that they was communicating through email. You know, some people at least get a burner phone. They left traces. They didn't care. They didn't even think they could be on the radar by how locked into the system they were. They were emailing. Like, I get everybody wants to see the names. I get everybody wants to see, like, hear what they were doing, whatever. I'm still stuck on the email part. You know what Angela was like, I'm still stuck on the fat as hell part. That's where I'm stuck.
So seeing a lot of Black Americans reacting to this situation in a very emotional way, not because racism is okay or is allowed, but because of history and the long reality of black women being unprotected for generations. For many people, the reaction is coming from a place of pain and memory. Black women have often been placed in danger, ignored, or not even believe when harm happens to them. So when people hear that black girls were not part of something that's later become known for abuse and exploitation, the reaction for some is relief, not celebration of racism, but relief that this time some harm did not get to the black girls. That's why some black Americans are calling it protection, not protection created by fairness or kindness, but protection that comes from being kept away from something dangerous. At the same time, others see it differently. They see it purely as racism and discrimination, and they believe that exclusion based on race should never be framed as something positive, regardless of the outcome. But from my own perspective, understanding the reactions of Black Americans means understanding the emotions behind it. People are not praising racism, they are reacting to the outcome, to the feeling that for once, black girls were not the one harmed in a situation that hurt a lot of people. If you made it thus far, I would love to know what you think. Share your thoughts in the comments, and if this video resonates with you, support the channel by liking, subscribing, and sharing. I'll see you in the next video.